can do fringe this way and make a little strip and then turn it, but then it won't stretch. That's the only problem with doing it that way. It's not, there's really, I've tried like lots of different ways to try to make fringe easier, and there's really no way to do it. So if you find a way, let me know. Alright, so just like we did with hanging on your swatch, hanging the tails on, remember when we did that for the swatch, hanging the tails on those needles? It's the same idea for fringe. So when you're doing fringe though, it's not like you're going to do loops and then it's not secure. So it's never secure, even on the other way. So if you pull on it, you will pull the fringe out. Unless you were to do like run a zigzag stitch over it or something like that to catch it. But if you were to pull on it, it would just all pull out. So this is fringe we just started. So literally you just have to hang it. And I've tried different things like putting like a dowel in there to try to like loop it around. I've not found anything that like really works super well, especially if you want it to be loops and not just cut, to make them even. So it's time consuming and difficult, but you can hang whatever you want. That's kind of the point. Like you can make this into fringe, you can put stuff on here, you can just hang stuff on the needles, and then as long as the carriage will run over it. So this would be, you can do multiple, you don't just have to do like one row, you could do multiples, but all I'm doing is looping them on here. And then later, not very precise because later I go back and cut it. So then I would knit over here. And then this would be the fringe that I would go back and cut later. So it would all be the same size. But if I pull on it, it's just gonna pull right out. So not secure, unless you were to like run a zigzag stitch with a sewing machine or something like that over it. The other way you could try it is,
You have to run a zigzag stitch over it, won't you? 'Cause then you'll have
yeah,
to-
I mean, you know, in general, you wouldn't throw it in the washing machine, you know, if you had fringe. So not necessarily. You could just cut it, but it's not secured unless you were to
Could you
stitch
knot
over
it after you cut it? Could you not?
Yeah, you could. I mean, yeah, run a zigzag stitch or knot it, like any way to secure it. Of course, you could go each one and knot them if you wanted. I just thought the sewing would be a lot quicker knotting each one. Okay, the other way that you can try, and again, it's not secure because you're basically like making a giant loop, and then if you were to pull it, it will pull apart. So you'd have to, again, you can make a tiny little, instead of this being this wide, it could be really small, and you could just do it on one side. It'd be like a fringe strip, but you might want to run a stitch over it and then make it secure. The other problem with that is when you're going this way, it's going to be really stretchy, but when you're going this way, it's not going to be as stretchy. So if you're making a fringe, this second way I'm going to show you, if you're making like a strip of it and then you want to sew it across something like this way, then it's not going to stretch as much as what's underneath it, so you'd have to make it bigger or somehow like manage that stretch. So just keep that in mind. So the other way that you can do it is to push out a needle. It's probably happened to you where it like accidentally gets pushed out. So if you push a needle out, it'll basically make fringe for you here on the sides. And when you bind off, you know, you can bind this one off and then do a line and then bind these off. And then you can cut these, but again, it's basically treating this like one huge stitch. So this part, if you pull on it, is gonna pull out. So that's what I said, if you wanna make a narrow strip like that and then turn it the other way, you can make like a line of fringe that way. So, and then if you don't bind this off, if you just let that go, then it'll become loops like this, which is fine if you want loops, but that's a good way to make even loops. But this is not secure right up here. So if I'm pulling on these loops, you see how that's gonna come apart? up there because it's just like one giant stitch.
Mhm.
So it'd be like pulling these. It's not secured at the end. So try those two ways to make fringe.